Hi everybody, I have been asked this question several times, what the 12 houses in astrology mean. So in astrology we have charts like this, okay? This is the chart, so you draw it up by using a place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. And then you've got this wheel, and you can see that there are sections and there are 12 different houses. Okay, so the circle has been split into 12. Each house has 30 degrees and each house means something else. So let's say Venus is the planet of love and beauty. Okay, that's the energy of love. The sign that it's in, here it's in Taurus, is the way the planet expresses itself. So in Taurus, Venus is very happy because she's in a sign that she rules, Taurus, which is about earthly things, the body, sexuality, money, all of those kind of things. So Venus is very at ease, kind of loving and being loving towards others and nurturing and kind and caring. And she is in the 10th house of career. So the 10th house is the area of your life where that planet in its sign expresses its energy. So the planet is the energy itself, love. The sign is how that planet expresses its love. So in a financial way, in a physical way, and in what area of your life it happens, the 10th house of career. So this gives you an opportunity to really pour your love into your work and to make money through your career and your work because you're coming up with new ideas that you love and adore and that come from you and that offer you freedom. See how it works? So the planet is the energy itself, the sign is how that energy is expressed, and the house is what area of your life that energy expresses itself in. Now, the first house of the chart has to do with self, and in the traditional chart, it's ruled by Aries, so I'm going to use the traditional rulerships for each of these houses. So, in the traditional chart, the first house is Aries. It's like the new year as far as astrology is concerned. And Aries is about the self. It's about personal development. It's about your physical appearance. It's about what it is you want. It's about your identity. The second house has to do with money, career, abundance, practical, solid foundations of your life. The third house is about communication, thinking, the way you communicate with yourself, the way you're able to see things, your perspective. Also, randomly, it's associated with siblings, so brothers and sisters. And the decision-making process, as well as moving within your local area. The fourth house has to do with family relationships, friendships that are like family. So people who are your chosen family, people who you love and adore and who you make your own family. It's about your roots. It's about where you feel at home, where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you can, settle. And really what's home. The fourth house is home. The fifth house is love, romance, and children, and fun and being spontaneous. The sixth house is daily routine, work. So work in a daily way. So your daily routine, the work that you're doing practically and how you're going about doing it. And it also represents your physical health, your body. So it's the physical reality of who you are. The seventh house rules relationships in general. So friends, acquaintances, colleagues, bosses, lovers, family members, siblings, grandparents, landlords, random people on the street. It's relationships in general. It's how you connect with others. The eighth house is interesting because it represents you in connection with groups of people. So institutions. So schools and governments and hospitals and Greenpeace, any kind of group of people that are bigger than you. It also is ruled by Scorpio, the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth. Scorpio is ruled by the planet Pluto, which is also about the phoenix rising from the ashes, being reborn. So the eighth house represents the other side. It represents death and rebirth. It represents changing how you fit into the world, how you are perceived by groups of people. So let's say you have been an accountant for 5 years, and your parents will then say, here's my daughter Sally, she's an accountant. They start to lump you in with what you do. When you change your job, or when Sally changes her job to be a performance artist, then it'll take a while for the parents to adjust, but she'll be introduced as, this is my daughter, the performance artist. So it's the institution or the label that society puts on you, okay? The ninth house is about education, the higher realms, broadening your horizons, travel, and travel abroad, travel overseas, big trips. Expanding your life, making yourself bigger, learning more information that gives you a greater understanding of who and where you are in the world. The 10th house is career, work, and your vocational choice. So the profession that you choose, the profession you love, the profession that you are most gifted in. So your ideal profession. The 11th house represents hopes and dreams being realized. It represents the public. It represents being in the spotlight. It represents being in the limelight. It also has a random association with friendships and relationships that are social, public. So with your followers, with your fans, with your subscribers. It's the relationship of you in a position of being on your own in the spotlight and connecting with groups of people with you at the center of it. So it's similar to the eighth house, but different, because in the eighth house you slip into an institution and you try and fit into that. In the 11th house, you are the institution, you are the one who is in public, and you're the one who is seen, and how you present yourself, and how you interact with people in a professional way based on your beliefs. The 12th house is spirituality and completion. So the wheel of the chart, here's the beginning. So that is the first house here. Goes all the way around 12 houses. By the time you get to the 12th house, spirituality and completion, it's like a life ending. You start your life, you start building your body and your business, you start communicating with siblings, you make family, you find lovers, you find your own love of your life, then you take care of your body and you work and you sort out your work to be the best it can be. You manage all the other relationships, how you're perceived by the world, what career is ideal for you, how you want to be seen in the spotlight. By the 12th house, you're winding down towards pulling the veil aside and moving on to the next life. So the 12th house is about spirituality and your intuition, your psychic ability, being self-sacrificing, doing things for other people, not thinking about yourself anymore, but how you can give and share and share your experience for free and give of yourself and look to the unmanifest and the spiritual and try to enlighten yourself and ascend and move on to the next level. So those are the 12 houses. I've had people question what the houses mean, so there you go. Does anyone have any questions now about the houses that I didn't make clear? Now's the time to ask. I'm always in 12th house. So, Susan, you can't always be in the 12th house. You may have a lot of planets in your 12th house. 3 or more planets is called a stellium. Stellium. And it means you have a lot of planets in that 12th house. But you also have your transit. So you have things constantly moving around the entire chart. Transits are what's happening in the sky at the moment and how they move over your birth chart, which is a snapshot of the sky at the moment you were born. I'll talk about Jupiter on the ascendant in a moment, okay? So the natal chart I draw up by using your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. That is a blueprint of your soul, and that's what the sky looked like at the moment you were born. To look at what's coming up in future, the predictive astrology, I draw up your progress chart, and the progress chart is your natal chart, artificially sped up by 1 degree for every year you've been alive. And it shows me where you're at this stage in your life. And the transits are what's going on in the sky at the moment and how that affects you. So if you have a lot of planets in the 12th house, you'll naturally be very connected to the higher realms. If you then have Jupiter going through that 12th house, Jupiter is the lucky planet, like a magnifying lens. It will make that connection even bigger. That segues me nicely into the question someone asked about Jupiter on the ascendant. They made a film about this a couple of years ago called Jupiter Ascendant. And having Jupiter either in the 12th house on the ascendant, which is your rising sign, or just underneath it in the first house, under the rising sign, means that you're someone who is blessed and lucky, because the rising sign, as far as I interpret the astrology chart, is your natural default setting. And if you have the lucky planet sitting on your natural default setting, if you're in a crisis and you react from the gut with your instinct, and you're always lucky with your instincts and your guidance and your reactions, then hooray, things are going to turn out well for you. Any other questions? Let's see. Wounded healer in the 10th house. Okay, so you've got Chiron in the 10th house. How do you determine where the houses begin in your natal chart? How do you determine where the houses begin? You'll have a chart like this, and they begin here with the rising sign. They begin with the first house and they finish with the 12th house, okay? And they're split up in different house systems. 2,000 years ago, they used the equal house system where they took 30 degrees. There are different ways of splitting up the sky. There's Porphyry, there's Placidus, which is the most popular, which is the one I use. There's Tropo something. Good, I'm glad it's helpful, Jessica. Hello, Victoria, hi. Hi, in Bonn, hi. Hi. If you want your own chart, Victoria, then get in touch with me via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Just click on the readings tab and you can book your reading with me there, and I can analyze your birth chart, and I can look at what's coming up for you in future. Okay, I'm just looking for any other questions on the houses. Your Capricorn, Jupiter on the 12th house, I've answered that. How do you determine where they begin? Okay, they start with the first house. Okay, you've got Scorpio rising, fine, good. Most planets in 12th house. If you have most of your planets in your 12th house, then you have a natural affinity for the other side. You're able to draw back the veil quickly and easily. When are those solar storms going to leave us be? Well, we don't know. The sun explodes and shoots off big energy things all the time, and I read somewhere that it has to do with the northern lights, so that's something that's continually happening. Susan, so you were born at that time. In Iran, I can draw up your chart based on that information and show you what your chart is and how that defines you, and what your vocational aptitudes are, what your life purpose is, what your talents are when it comes to certain things in life, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you're destined to do, what's written on your head, and also what on your forehead rather, and where you have choice and how you can take your destiny and shape it to your own will. So I can look at what's coming up in love and work and health and money, personal development, spiritual development. I can answer any questions you may have. I can also look at your progressed No. I can do a synastry reading where I take another person's chart and I compare it with yours to see if you're a good match. You're welcome, Rola. Okay, you've got lots of Scorpio in your 6th house, Ella, okay? So you ought to work on an emotional level. This shirt was a present. So thank you. Someone sent this to me in the mail. So I'm very grateful. Some people with Capricorn in the 1st, do they bloom late? No, they work very hard. Scorpio rising, great. Yes, you can have a reading, Princess Laura. Just go to gregoryscott.com and order it there so your progress changes. Yeah, your progress chart shows me how you've changed as you've grown older, and it shows me where you're at this point in your life. What if the planet like the moon is in the 6th degrees? Don't know what that means. I'm still on. Okay, so that's the 12th houses. I'm going to make the monthlies now for each sign of the zodiac. So if you want to stick around, you're welcome to. I just wanted to do this first because last time when I did the 12th houses, last time when God, I'm a little bit fuzzy today. Wake up, Gregory. Last time I did this, people asked about the houses a lot, so that's why I did this. Ambika, you're fine. Just everything's fine. Kisses to you. Okay. So last time when I did the monthlies for each sign of the zodiac, you asked about the houses. That's why I did this. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you all. You guys, I love you. So I'll see you in a second.